So, as was said, I'm here representing two different charities, the Cats Foundation and also Nystagmus Network. And the plan is for me to talk about the differences between two different charity trust boards, one of a new charity and one of a more established charity that's kind of larger and has more people involved with the organisation. So firstly, the two charities, the Cats Foundation and Nystagmus Network. And to talk about them individually so you can understand each organisation before I go into the trust boards. So the Cats Foundation supports children mainly with Tay-Sachs and Tanner disease. They affect around about 1 in 320,000 people, so very rare. It was founded back in 2011 and we provide lots of different things to our member families. And we're really involved with the research for potential treatment, which we're hoping to launch in the next year or two, which will potentially cure the kids from the disease in the future. At the moment, it's such a devastating illness, they pass away right from the age of 5, and then there was the ability to function independently. But since we started the charity, we've implemented lots of new initiatives. We've got things like patient registries, which never existed before, and that's actually across the whole of Europe. We've got apps to help people provide support to their family members. We are big European conferences, actually at Disneyland Paris, where all the families come together once a year. They've got opportunity to hear about the research and also to meet other families. It's a rare disease, one of the big problems is the feeling of isolation. And we really focus on ensuring that our families and children all have as good a quality of life as possible. And one of our key aims. On the flip side, the Nystagmus Network. This is a charity that affects people with nystagmus. Nystagmus is an eye condition, so the eyes move rapidly. It's more quality of life issue compared to Tay-Sachs. And it affects 1 in 1,000 people. It's actually a very, very common condition in the world of rare diseases. And it's also an old charity, founded back in 1984 by Vivian, after her son was diagnosed with nystagmus. The same like all of us here of our charities, there was no one supporting them, so she established the charity and done an amazing work at making sure people have access to services and support that they never had before. So they provide support network, patient advocacy, information for healthcare professionals, a lot of work there. And they're really involved in research to drive that forward to try and find some form of treatment. It's one of the really big things that they're focusing on at the moment. So now to look at the charities side by side to see how different they are. So one is relatively old, so 30 years. For most of us, it's kind of an old charity. One's very new. But that has its own challenges. So an old charity has lots of things in place already. So having joined them back in February, actually there's a big infrastructure already in place. While at the Cats Foundation, we had to build that infrastructure, which made us, there was a lot of work as we saw there with business plans, all the budget things we had to do. One is a rare disease, which is Nystagmus. One is a very, very rare disease. That has its challenges. You look at the incidence rate, 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 320,000. That's access to funding mainly. If you think about it, one of the key things that help you raise money are your families. So if you don't have many families, it's very difficult to get the funding in. While a much more common disease, there's more people involved, and that has access to more money, because you can get them involved with the charity to fundraising for you. This is a big one. One's a terminal illness, one's not a terminal illness. That's a big difference in terms of the support you provide to families, and also in terms of actually the story you can tell people when you're trying to do your fundraising. So not just to families, also to corporates when you go for grants. Because sadly, children who are dying, this will be a better case for you to go out and get funding for specific projects. One is seen as a symptom, so nystagmus is a kind of a common symptom in lots of different conditions, while Tay-Sachs, that is a condition with lots of different symptoms. So how that's viewed very different, not just in terms of families and healthcare professionals, but also when you go to funders. And in research, this is a big one. Tay-Sachs has had major breakthroughs in the last 5 years. We're hoping to actually launch a trial that will cure people from the condition. Nystagmus, they really still don't understand the condition. That's very different compared to not having anything available. So we're trying to get them to work on why the condition occurs, why it's associated with so many other diseases, so we can drive that forward and hopefully get a treatment. And the big difference in the charities is there's 12 trustees and there's 5 trustees. So some of you may be on charity boards where there's only a couple, but 3 or 4 of you, some may be with lots of people, and that brings us challenges. So when I talk about the trust board and go on about those challenges that I've experienced personally, having been involved with 2 organisations. So, Cats Foundation, 5 trustees, same people who are involved with the charity from day one, all friends and family, me and my wife. And the way it works really is we do the majority of the work, the two of us, and the others are involved in decision making, but it can leave us to do the majority of projects for the charity does. And all our board meetings are very, very calm. There's never confrontation, and things can get passed, and it makes things much easier. However, if that's a good thing or bad thing, who knows? See, Nystagmus Network is different. The trust board changes all the time. So even last week, 3 new trustees were appointed onto the board, 3 stepped down. This regularly happens. So there's very different ideas coming to the table. It's a real mix of people. So our Cats Foundation is friends and family. In fact, Nystagmus Network has adults affected with the condition. You've got mothers, you've got fathers, you've got young adults, which is the most amazing thing, guys in their 20s who actually want to do something and help other people with the same condition they're suffering from. And it's a completely mix of individuals. It means when you actually have a trustee, a board meeting, so many ideas are thrown out there, and they range from absolutely everything. And I said the board meetings are very productive, but it can be a decision made. That leads us on to the challenges. Now, a large committee versus a small committee. A large committee is very good because more people can do the work. However, to get a decision that everyone agrees on is much harder. An example being we're doing a rebrand at the moment. To get everyone to agree on a new logo, on a new colour scheme, on a new everything is just proving difficult. While a small committee is relatively easy. You have an idea, you throw it out there, all your trustees will just generally agree because you're not in the same world. There's a subcommittee in Nystagmus Network for everything. So for every decision made, there's a committee. The subcommittee for the committee. Research, there's a subcommittee. They make decisions on research, report back to the whole committee, and then the whole committee makes a decision based on what the subcommittee comes up with. Same with fundraising, same with support, same with everything. Which is good, so every decision is robustly made, but it is very time consuming. While again, the Cats Foundation, more reactive. We're all involved in decisions, things are put to the table, agreed or not agreed. Maybe they're not discussed in as much detail as they would if you have a subcommittee. But that's the kind of way that charity works. And the decision-making process. There's a process for every decision made on the Nystagmus Network, which is really good. So when you come to the table with an idea, it goes off to the relevant subcommittee, they have a process to go through, and then report back to the whole committee, has a whole process to go through, and the decision yes or no is made, it's done by the majority. While probably on the downfall of the Cats Foundation is literally we have an idea, we all agree, it goes through. Nothing's really challenged. And there's an element of trust there on the people who are making the decisions, coming to the table of the projects, that we won't be coming to something that actually might have a big impact. Budgets. You know, we don't have a formal budget in the Cats Foundation. It's a roundabout figure of fundraising. We tend to rely on grants for all of our projects, so rather than use our fundraising to go through every project, we'll go for grants. And that helps us make sure that our project can be funded all the way through. We don't actually budget accordingly for that. While in Nystagmus Network, everything's budgeted. You can't go over budget at all. So it's very, very strict, which is good as well. It means that we know where we're going to be in the next 6, 12, 18 months. But it can be quite restrictive. If you have a new idea, if it's not put in place, budgeted for that year, it's not going to happen. You have to wait until next year. And the big challenge here, both sides of the table, lots of people to support is very, very difficult, especially when you're a relatively small charity. So you have to have that in place, that you can support people with volunteers and make sure they have access to services they need. Well, the Cats Foundation is the opposite. There's not many people to support. It's actually, you have to go out and find them. You have to offer them all the services, and that can be very difficult as well, because some people are resistant to having anyone get involved in the near the care and advice to their children. They're not wanting to know about the services they can use. So it's very, two sides of the table, very, very different, but actually the same challenge. Then we move on to difficulties. These difficulties I've experienced from two sides of the table. Decisions can take forever. It's very frustrating, especially when you're being reactive. You know, if you, for example, you have a short time frame to do something like a rebrand, you want to be able to make a decision and make it happen. Get everything ordered, get everything signed off, but actually in reality, like a bigger company, that can't happen. So the risk of a small charity is that one person is the decision maker. They are that focal point for everyone. And that actually is difficult if you are that person, because all of a sudden you're making every single decision. and your trust board is trusted. That can be very difficult to do. As I said, getting a consensus on anything takes time, a larger board. While a smaller board, a lot of the time, many of you will agree, it's based on your instinct, what you think is going to be the right thing to do in terms of your support. You're going to follow that through because you think you know that it's the right thing to do. And 99 times 100 it will be. While in a large organisation, that won't happen because you'll have that board in place. You have that whole process in place to make sure that everything's robust and reviewed. As I was saying, too many hooks, and then not enough hooks. And that very happens. Too many people do want to get involved in everything. And that can delay everything. So if you are someone who sits on a board, has lots of people, you have to realise that everyone wants to be involved in every aspect. That's one of the reasons why these guys have implemented their subcommittees. So that not everyone's getting involved in decision making, which in practice makes sense, but actually implementing it's more difficult because still they report back and still everything has to go through our committee. Well, Cats Foundation, not enough groups. We have so much work to do. That's one of our big problems, is scaling back to actually maintain a level of service we can provide all of our families. There's something we've experienced now, is that there's only so much support we can provide. There's only so many people affected by the condition. So rather than setting out and say, let's take over the world, let's just do everything we possibly can, we set ourselves a plan to have one project a year now that we commit to fully and launch and implement. As everything else, we have in place. We have a support service, we have a support worker who goes out and meets our families. We have our research, all of our inputs, so the treatment's due in the next year to 2 years. So actually, we can't do anything else other than an occasional new project. So that's where our focus is on, because we were getting overworked and trying to come up with new things every few months. See, again, the shortest answer is doing. A lot of people agree with that. A lot of people like to talk without actually doing anything. And this is on the larger board. A lot of people want an opinion. When you ask them to do something, there's a resistance of, oh no, it should be me, it should be so and so. So it's making sure that that larger board understands that if you're going to have an opinion, then you're going to follow through with that. You're not just going to farm that off or say it's not your role. You can have an opinion but not do anything about it. And again, as I said before, Cats Foundation, there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much work we can possibly do. It's very, very time consuming, like any small charity establishing fundraising plans, strategies, business plans. So making sure that you can actually don't overstretch yourself. And that's what we found, is making sure we have a clear plan and make it very simple. So our simple plan is one new project that we all agree on will impact someone's life. So that's how we work. And so this is difficulties changing direction is difficult, very difficult in a larger trust board because everyone is kind of agreed on a direction the charity is going to go in. Is it going to be research? Is it going to be medical research? Is it going to be social research, emotional research? Is it going to be support? Is it going to be practical support, emotional support? A large organisation, you're really set, and that's set by everyone. Very difficult to change that. Well, I found in a smaller charity, we can lose focus all the time because we can say, oh, I've already got it, let's do it. And then we'll do that project. And then 6 months later, let's do something else. And you kind of lose direction slightly because there's no kind of consistency on the message. And that's again what we try to do is scale it back and say, once a year, let's look at a project we can commit to that will impact our members. And then there's the benefits. The benefits of two trust boards, a large trust board and a small trust board. So benefits, every decision is robustly reviewed, which is great. So you know when something is agreed on, everyone's happy, everyone's behind it. Smaller trust board, you can make a decision, just be reactive, you can have an idea and just go with it, which I quite like that kind of approach. It means there's a need out there, you can go in and you can actually jump the bandwagon and do it. For us, it was designing mobile apps at the time. We have really good support app that people download to their phones. The people are using now. There's other charities out there, and in the field we're in Tay-Sachs and Santa Fe, were trying to do the same thing. But because we were the first ones doing it, ours is the standard, so everyone across the world uses it. And I think a year, 2, 3 years later of doing that wouldn't happen. We would have been behind, and then our app, and then helping us to promote ourselves to funders and to see the work we do. We were in this opportunity. That's why being small and reactive sometimes can have a big benefit. It's a big benefit on a big board. Your support services are spread out. You have lots more people involved providing support to people. And that's really good. You've got a larger trust board, access to more people, to more volunteers, to people who can actually help you do the work. As we said before, getting volunteers from the universities, amazing. Never thought of doing that. What a great idea. That can be implemented easier because you've got more people who can manage them. A sports service that's smaller, that only has a few people involved, is more personable. So everyone affected by that condition will know those 1, 2, 3 people who support them. That's also a benefit, because then they feel that they're getting that closer, one-to-one support, and if there's more people involved. Necessarily, well, charity is not one person. As I say, many of us will have heard, charity is not about one person, one family, one child. Charity is there to support people, and that's what the focus should always be. We should be on about one person. In a smaller organisation, when I lose that bit, it tends to be has a clear leader, a clear person who's associated with that condition, which can be good because they become an expert. But actually, you want to empower other people to have a link to the charity, to feel confident that they can represent that disease, and represent your organisation. That's one of the benefits of a small organisation. You can actually do that. Bigger trust board, bigger scope, you can do a lot more because you've got more people with more expertise in different aspects, such as in funding, such as in funding at corporate level, fundraising, events, research, everything. Well, a benefit of a smaller trust board is you can be much more focused on that condition because it's a much smaller need. So you can be really focusing on that support services, that one disease you are supporting. And then my personal experiences. I like being reactive. I like seeing opportunity and going with it, trusting my instincts. Some people, or some other organisations, that's not the way they're set up. So I like being able to see that niche where you can actually make an impact. It's amazing to see small charities like everyone here, you can make such an impact on people. And to say you've done that is the most amazing thing. You know, my daughter diagnosed with a condition, nothing out there. Now when people get a diagnosis, they have access to support services, support worker, all the information they could possibly want about the condition, how they can help them. You know, the kids are living longer with this condition because they get better support. We empower them to look after them. I think that's one of the most amazing things small charities can do, is empower people involved, and empower those parents who are affected by the condition so they can look after themselves. You can achieve your goals as a group. So all of our board, we're really passionate about the charity. And we always get behind every project, and we work really hard to make sure we follow it through. That's one of the good things about having a smaller trust board. So everyone's really behind that one project. It tends to be that something that one of you, two of you is not interested in won't happen, because you all need to be behind it. You're more directly involved with the community. So I know all the families, past and present, with children with the condition. Just because we're smaller, we know our community. Because we're a smaller trust board, we have to be involved with everyone. And we're involved with aspects, so accounts, and we do that. The auditing, we put that all in place. We don't farm it out, which we're probably going to do now after today, but we've done all that work in the past. The fundraising strategies, the new media, video, photos, everything. I quite like getting involved with lots of different things, which many of you will do. And that's quite good fun, but actually, in some ways it's not good to farm that one out. And then this is, first experiences are larger board. It's nice to have some order. It's really nice to have a plan. A clear plan that's been set and cannot be changed. And this is what's going to happen. It's really good to be able to take a step back and look at what the charity is doing. What the charity's goals are, what its objectives are, how we're going to do that. And that's one of the really good things about having a larger trust board, is they can help you achieve those goals and those objectives of the charity. See, a larger community with a larger trust board means you help more people. There's no one you're going to be left behind. One of the big things we're doing with Nystagmus Network is reaching out to more people because we have this larger trust board. Where one of the problems in the past was slightly neglected were our funders, so people who are fundraising for us. There are things in place where we communicate with them more regularly. You know, and implementing things like that makes a big impact. You can take a step back and see actually where you can make a bigger difference to the charity. And as I said before, the bigger trust board allows much more help. And as someone who works for a charity, I've worked for a couple of charities now, it's really nice to have some support. A smaller organisation, really are sometimes if you're on your own. The bigger trust board, they can help you achieve the goals that you set for the charity. So the big question is which is best. small trust board or a big trust board. You know, so it's what suits you. I like the aspect of a smaller trust board where you can be reactive and you can make sure that you have a very personable service to your members. But actually having some order makes a big difference. You know exactly where every penny is going to be going. And you have things set out in pens, you know exactly what you're doing for the year. But it's two very different organisations. So what I'm trying to do now in the Nystagmus Network is get them to realise they need to move forward. And having a trust board that's larger can be a problem. You need to make them all kind of get on the same page. You need to move with the times. It's been slightly left behind in the last few years. So implementing some of the things we've done at the Cats Foundation at a small charity level, so a bigger organisation will actually make a bigger impact when they realise it's doing that at the moment. Thank you. Very quick overview. Any questions?